Hi guys, so I'm just making a quick update. I'm a few weeks into the school year at this point, and things are still pretty rough. Yeah, I guess that's putting it lightly. Things are really rough, you could say. Basically, just eating disorder stuff has kind of been the same. I had a really bad weekend. I tend to struggle on weekends, I think, just because lack of structure and whatnot. And by Monday, I was feeling pretty bad physically, just really dizzy and out of it. So I went to my student health center and they took my vitals and they weren't great, but my pulse was fine, but my systolic and my diastolic blood pressure from laying to standing both dropped by 10, which I think when you're diastolic, the bottom number drops by 10. That's like the standard for hospitalization, but I don't think the person who was taking them knew that. In her mind, it was just like if your systolic drops by 20 points. So they didn't do anything, which I mean is good. So I'm not complaining. I just thought it was kind of strange. Yeah, I'm feeling not as dizzy today, but last night it got pretty bad because I was just really stressed out. I mean, I have been generally, but a little bit more than usual. And lately, when I've been feeling overwhelmed by stress, my initial reaction is I can't eat, I don't want to eat, I'm not hungry, and I let it get the best of me a lot. So, yeah. And then Monday was a rough day because a girl in my sorority died this past summer, very unexpectedly, and so we had a memorial service for her. I wasn't super close to her. I did know her, and she was a wonderful person, and I'm really sad about what happened to her. But it's also was just really difficult to watch other people that I am close to, that were close to her, being in so much pain, and it was just emotionally not, I don't know, it was emotionally draining. And after that as well, I was just like, blah, food, I don't want to deal with this. I don't know. I guess it's my way to numb out, in addition to dealing with my stress and everything. So that's unfortunate because I don't know. I guess I'm making excuses well, when I'm stressed, I don't know how to deal with it and I use maybe disorder, but really stressful things have happened every single day. And I just don't know what to do with myself. So after my little freak out Monday, my therapist was just like, we need to start looking into IOP. So I know she's looked into a couple programs a little bit, and I talked to my dietitian about it. They're not at this point saying have to go or it's not an option kind of thing, but it's within the next, I don't know, week, 2 weeks, if it doesn't get better, then it will be not an option. So it's a serious looming threat at this time. I have some really serious concerns about potentially going back to treatment. In addition to the fact that I also, sorry, distracted, just don't want to tell my parents about everything that's been going on because they're not fully aware of it. Yeah, I mean, the main thing is that I don't want to miss school. Because if I was not in school, if I was at home doing this poorly, I would be pretty open to going to treatment or like anything that would help me because I do want this to stop. I really do. But the one thing that is more important to me is school. And like I've been talking about, maybe there's a way I can do IOP and stay in school. It would involve a lot of driving back and forth, probably to Seattle because that's the nearest city to where I'm in school. And logistically, it would be kind of a nightmare. And then I'd also be really overwhelmed between doing that and doing school. So, I don't know. I feel like that might end up aggravating things. And then my other concern is that even though like physically I've been deteriorating, I guess you could say, mentally I'm still, I don't think, in nearly as bad of a place as I have been previously when I've been in treatment. And whenever like I've been in treatment, there are people who are kind of in a range of mental states. I mean, less so in like very, very intensive treatment, but in like IOP, PHP, you definitely get a range of like people that, 100% want recovery, will do whatever it takes, and people who are kind of like waffling and just don't really know what they want, which is just their journey. But it can be really hard if you're someone who is on the end of the spectrum that's doing better and like knows what you want. Or like for me, like I don't feel like I need to lose weight or that I shouldn't gain weight necessarily. Like it does freak me out, but I'm not saying that I don't need to or that it would be a bad thing or the end of the world. But just being in that mental state, I know, would be different than for a lot of people I would be in treatment with. And that I feel like it could be triggering because eating disorders, I think by nature, generally, are very competitive. So if I like see someone who's not eating my eating disorder, that part of me says like maybe you shouldn't be eating, or like, oh you pig, like you can't eat that. So that's really, really hard. And I'm just worried it would be more detrimental than helpful. Then the other part about that is that for me, like, the greatest struggle right now is also just, I think, a lack of support, which is partly that just that I think there are people who would support me more here if I just asked, but it's so hard for me to ask. And I've been doing it a little bit more, but it's still just not something that comes naturally to me. And it's something I'm going to struggle with for a while. So I don't know if just, having some groups and a few meals with like supervision will be enough to get me back on track if I'm still in the same environment, and especially for like weekends and stuff, and I tend not to do as well. At the same time, the other option would be like taking a leave of absence from school, and that I feel like I just can't do. Because I think part of what's making me struggle so much is just feeling so down and like I've failed. Because feeling that way, then it's like, well, like I've already failed, so what's the point of trying to get better at this point? But like I'm trying hard to combat that feeling, but I feel like if I did have to take a leave of absence, go to IOP, PHP at home, that I'm not sure I could recover mentally from what that would do to me, because I do feel like I should be doing better for the amount of treatment I've had, and I know it's a stubborn disease, and therapists and people will tell me, like, you can't, see it that way. Like, it's the disease and it's life. But it's how I see it. And that's just reality for me. So it's basically where things are at. Other than that, school, I'm doing my best, but I'm definitely not as with it mentally as I should be. But I'm keeping up with the work for the most part. But it's going to be a tough, well, at least a couple weeks, and we'll see after that. Like, I don't even know. Everything's going to be tough. So that is that. That's all I'm gonna say. This is getting to be a long video. I guess I don't even really know what I'm saying, but that's what's happening. So, if you have any thoughts about treatment stuff, I'd be curious to hear them. So feel free to comment. And yeah, I'll talk to you all again when I have something else to report. Thanks for watching. Bye.